vibe to this, a D-Town getting down to this. Can you get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd was lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. And D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Took a powerful rip. It felt like a time traveling trip. My mind drifting to the cloudy abyss. Took my chalice and sip. Chicks admire how I'm styling my fit. I acknowledge with the smile of a prince. Can tell I'm piling my chips. The party's rocking, everybody was bent. Nobody wildin', ain't no violence ahead. We all lounging for real. The smooth sounds got us vibing and shit. And D-Town steady riding to this. Can you get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd was lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. And D-Town's ahead.
This is Real Deal Sports Talk with me, KP. It's March 3rd, 2018.
We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Can you get down to
living life to the fullest, it's an everyday philosophy. Walk up in the spot and get the party popping properly. Ain't no beef now, we just chilling inside. All the energy is positive, we feeling that vibe. Politicking with my people, we get the reminiscing how we flip the whole script. Now we in better position, still be on a mission, turning dreams to fruition. Getting street knowledge, no fees, intuition. Think about the future, how we need to teach children. Already reached thousands, we about to reach millions. Break the glass ceiling, how your ass feeling? Like a superhero on these comic book villains in the Mile High City. You know we stay blazing. I'm high off this life though, the feeling is amazing. Never had nothing, now every day is celebrated. Glasses elevated tonight,
can we get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd was lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. And D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Can you get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd is lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. And D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Can you get down to this? Can you get down to this?
And that was The Barbarians, Vivid Scientific, and Don Banks. I am KP. This is Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. Today we're going to talk about the Underware Olympics, that is the NFL Combine. How I personally would fix the NCAA and all this scandal and nonsense that's going on with amateur athletics. And you know what? It's about time we start talking about the NBA a little bit on this show. So we're going to do that as well today. We're going to start off with the Combine stuff. That's the big story. That's what's hitting everybody's ears this week. That's what's standing out for everybody. Some people, you know, they take this very seriously. Some people, they got to have it. Some people can, you know, go without it. We've had some top performers, guys like DJ Chark, the wide receiver from LSU, who currently has run the fastest 40 time at the Combine this year at 4.34. You look over on the bench press side of things, you got Will Hernandez, he put up 37. Quentin Nelson put up 35. Braden Smith from Auburn put up 35. You go over to the vertical jump. I always like to see the vertical jump. I'm kind of baffled by the vertical jump. Right now, Saquon Barkley is leading the vertical jump at just over 41 inches. Broad jump, that's another one that always got me. I was never good at the broad jump myself. DJ Moore, wide receiver out of Maryland, he's sitting at 11 feet right now for the broad jump this year. You look at the three-cone drill, current leader for the three-cone drill, another wide receiver, Dylan Cantrell out of Texas Tech, 6.5 seconds in the three-cone drill. The 20-yard shuttle, you're looking at, again, Dylan Cantrell from Texas Tech, 4.03 seconds, just beating out Jamon Moore at 4.04 seconds currently. And then the 60-yard shuttle, you're looking at, again, wide receivers, running backs, Dylan Cantrell, 10.85 seconds right there in the 60-yard shuttle. Now, I mean, we could go by position, and we could break down all these different little drills they're doing and all the different times and how big their hands are and look how fast the kickers can run and all this nonsense that takes place during the Underwear Olympics. What we have now turned into a TV event, the NFL Combine, a thing that used to be so you could get a medical recheck after your college football season before you came into the draft or the NFL to play in any way. And we have guys every year who come in, they put up great numbers, they run the fastest time, put up the most reps, and then they come in, and a lot of them don't amount to anything. Sometimes they don't amount to anything at all. But normally a lot of these guys who are the workout warriors, who have the best numbers and are so off the board, the John Rosses, the Stephen Paellas, that put up these giant numbers, they come in and they're just a guy. Because how you work out doesn't necessarily mean that you're a great football player. I heard Mark Schlereth say something this week. Football players play football. And his co-host kind of, chuckled a little bit and was like, well, yeah, football players play football. Well, there's a nuance to that I understood. And I'm sure his co-host understood. But, he had to, give him the business a little bit. And football players, they play football. It's not so much what you can do in the gym. Yes, that part is important. Being able to be explosive and put up some weight and, be agile and have some quickness and some endurance to you is all important aspects of being able to play the game of football. But you also have to have the ability to play the football. You have to have the mental acumen. You have to understand the game. You have to be able to transition that athletic ability into on-the-field movement and play. And that doesn't always happen with these guys. Sometimes the guys learn how to do that. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're these workout warriors that are so athletically gifted, and they spend their whole career injured because they spent so much time focusing on the weight room and, being explosive and lifting this weight and being strong and doing the reps and not necessarily focusing on a craft and what it was to actually be a football player, just thinking that they knew what it was. Mike Zimmer this week talked about Laquan Treadwell. Said he just needs to get out of his own way. He's oftentimes running steps and doing these extra things late at night because he thinks he's getting better. And actually he's hindering himself because then he comes out to practice and he's worn out and he can't put in the reps in the proper time in practice to actually get better where it counts on the field. And I worry about that. You just the two stories of the workout champions so far in the combine, Saquon Barkley and Mike Gesicki, both from Penn State, the tight end and the running back, both of them putting up amazing numbers. You look at Saquon Barkley, 29 reps at 225. That's more than Joe Thomas, the soon-to-be Hall of Fame offensive tackle, put up. He put up 28. His 10-yard split was faster than Deshaun Jackson by 100th of a second, 1.54 to 1.55. His 40-yard dash was faster than Devin Hester, and we all know to get up and go Devin Hester had, 4.4 to 4.43. And his vertical jump was better than Julio Jones, who can jump out the roof. Saquon Barkley put up 41 inches, Julio Jones 38.5. Then you look at Mike Gesicki. Okay, this is a guy, he's taller than Calvin Johnson by half an inch at 6.5, 6'5.5". He's stronger than Donald Penn. Big old Donald Penn for the Oakland Raiders. Put up 22 reps. Penn put up 21 reps. He ran a faster 40-yard dash time, and again, this is at 6'5.5" than Antonio Brown, 4.54 to 4.57. And he jumped higher than Odell Beckham Jr., who's not 6'5". He jumped 41.5 inches. Odell Beckham Jr. did 38.5 inches. So yes, these are two athletically gifted guys. These are guys that spend time in the weight room. These are guys that can put up amazing numbers. But being beasts like that, transitioning to now a faster level of football, a more intense level of football, do some of those muscles start to give out? Do some of those muscles that help you be agile all of a sudden, is that too much for them to take? You look at a guy like Barkley, he's talked about maybe being the number one pick. Maybe to a team like Cleveland, maybe to a team like Denver, who it's being reported today that there are talks being held between Cleveland and Denver for Denver to possibly move up to that number one spot. Presumably for a quarterback if they don't get a Kirk Cousins. But hell, maybe they're thinking, if we don't get that guy, we're going to go ahead and get the best guy we think is in this draft, and that's Saquon Barkley. Because he would be an upgrade to most teams' running game with his ability, if he stays healthy, and this workout warrior thing he's got going on doesn't somehow hinder his career early on as he makes that transition. Now, Gesicki, he's looked at as more of a mid-round, second-day, type of pick. Interesting, both guys are from Penn State. But they're the gold medal workout champions at the Underwear Olympics right now. One of my favorite stories coming out of the Combine right now is about Shaquem Griffin. After I learned about this young man, I followed his career. He's a twin, like my mother-in-law. He born with one hand, overcomes the odds. People continue to tell him he cannot do something, and he continues to show him, yes, I can. Scouts thought he'd be lucky to put up 5 reps of the 225 today. He uses a prosthetic that kind of holds the bar. It's like a C cup. I don't know how to describe it. He has a small prosthetic. You can look at the video, and it kind of holds the bar in place on one side, and then he uses his good hand on the other side. Man, he went out there. He put up 20 reps. Said, you think I could get 5? I'll do you 4 times better. And he is a solid football player. He's a guy you want on your team. He's inspirational. He's hardworking. He's a try-hard guy. He's going to give you effort. Yes, a lot of those things sound similar in the same different ways to say the same thing, but I'm telling you, he's going to be an instant impact as a rookie. Instant impact on special teams. He's going to be an instant impact when he's got to come in and spell somebody, and all of a sudden you're not going to lose nothing because he's out there with 110%. Look out for him to have a very nice NFL career. Another guy that's being told not to do something, and we talked about this last week. All these teams asking Lamar Jackson, we want you to try out at wide receiver. Stop trying to change who these guys are. Just stop. He's a quarterback. He is not a receiver. He has not come up through the ranks playing receiver. You guys take all of these black quarterbacks dating back to the 60s, and you want to convert them to defensive backs. You want to convert them to receivers. You want to think that they're not good enough. Coach them. Coach them up. Coach their system. Give them plays they are good at. Create an offensive system that takes advantage of the skills that your players have. Be a coach. Stop trying to stay in the same mold of this drop back pocket passer. The game is evolving. I talked about it last week how so many people are misusing this RPO terminology. Well, as much as that is being misused, it is the future of the current game. So you have a guy who has the ability to completely run the RPO system, great. Come in and be a coach and put together a system that takes advantage of his abilities, combined with what you have on the roster and can make happen, and go win some ball games. But stop trying to convert these guys into something that they're not. He's a quarterback. Play quarterback, young man. And anybody who asks you to try out a receiver, say thank you. You appreciate the offer, but you're going to go ahead and move forward on your path. And then when you get your shot, you go out there and burn them. And you show them what they missed out on and what they could have had. Now, where do I rank a Lamar Jackson coming out in this draft? I would say, based on ability and my faith as in the player transitioning to the NFL, he'd be in my top 3. I would have him, Baker Mayfield, and probably Josh Rosen in my top 3. With Sam Darnold and Josh Allen being that 4th and 5th guy. I like the kid out of Oklahoma State. I think Falk is going to be a nice, consistent backup if he's he's coached, with the possibility of being a Luke McCown type starter, backup, go-to guy. But I would have Lamar Jackson on ability. From what I've seen, his ability to throw the ball, his ability to run, and his ability to play in this RPO system. You can't bring him in and expect him to run something else other than what he's good at. You have to come in and go, okay, he's our guy. This is what he does. This is the system we're going to go with. We're going to mix in some of this other NFL version of it. We might take some lumps. We're going to learn as we go. And we're going to win some games. And you have to have some confidence in it. He should not change positions by any means. He should continue defying the odds like Shaquem Griffin has been doing his entire life. So I applaud both of these young men. Go out and do your thing. And have long, healthy careers. Couple stories coming out of this combine, guys that could have been first-round picks that now who knows what's going to happen with them. Maurice Hurst, diagnosed with a heart condition. He's not going to participate in any drills. He's going to be rechecked again next week. He might not be drafted or play next year at all. This could scare people off. And, you know, a lot of people had him going to the Lions at 20 or to Dallas at 19. Definite first-round pick. Billy Price, the center out of Ohio State, he gets hurt. He's out. He's not going to be participating in any more drills. Now, does his injury linger and somehow bump his draft stock out of the first round? It's a leg injury. He got hurt running the 40. So maybe not as serious as Maurice Hurst's injury, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, with the heart condition. But, I mean, devastating for these guys. Just devastating at the Underwear Olympics. That's all the time I'm giving to the Underwear Olympics. I'm not going to talk about the Underwear Olympics again. I'm not going to, if somebody breaks some amazing record, we'll come back and touch on it. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen, as most everybody's done their workouts. Big thing going on right now, and this, just like the Me Too movement, this is going to continue to spread. By no means is college basketball the only corrupt portion of the NCAA, and by no means is the NCAA not corrupt in itself. So I'm not going to get into all the details that are out there. You can read that. This is just what I would do. I'm on record of saying I love the purity of sports. I love all levels of sports. I hate the business side of sports. It has ruined sports in a lot of people's minds. They won't even give athletics a chance because of the money involved, because of the greed involved, because of just the nastiness that goes with that. The way it abuses and uses people is disgusting, and I'm not for it. But here's what you do. You take the business level out of the NCAA. This is how you're going to save amateur sports in this country, okay? You need farm systems for every major league sport. Period. The NFL needs a farm system. The NBA needs to develop a true farm system that will allow players at 18 years old, if they so choose, to bypass college and go play for these farm system teams if they make the team. That's the thing. You have to try out. You have to be picked to make these teams because you are now getting paid to be in a farm league to come play in this professional league. I'm fine with that. Do that. Allow 18-year-olds to come out of high school if they feel that that's their thing and go participate and try out. Then what you do on the NCAA level, you take the damn business out of it. You stop funding these campuses with the backs, the blood, the sweat, and the tears of all of their athletes. Not just the football players and basketball players and these athletes we see on TV, and Ed O'Bannon had to help from UCLA, had to help get out of video games and their likeness out of video games because we were completely cashing in and these athletes were not getting anything. And yeah, there's the side and, oh, they're getting a free education. Okay, that's true. But again, we got the business in it. So when they're getting, let's say at the top schools out of state, a $50,000 tuition a year, $200,000 if they stay in school 4 years. in that 4 years, they're going to generate 10 times that amount for the university. They are being used and manipulated as student athletes. So you take the business out of it. You cut down the corporate sponsors. You kill the TV networks that these organizations have, these universities have. You kill the TV contracts. You put them back on network TV for bowl games and big games and a Saturday game here and there. In fact, you go ahead and you make all college athletics club sports. You get the farm league for everybody who wants to come out at 18 and try out and go that route. You make college athletics club sports. Football, all of them. Club sports. You pay your way. You want to give them scholarships for club sports? Okay, here's how you do it. You give them exactly what room and board, exactly what tuition, exactly what books would cost, like you would get for an academic scholarship. They then have that money as a student athlete to go ahead and pay for their food. They can have a dorm plan. They can, pay for their meal plan. You allow them also, because now it's a club sport, because you are now there as an amateur. You are not there as a business piece, as a monetary investment, as a guy who's just looking to make money on the next level. In fact, don't even make it club sport. Strike that. Leave it as it is. But you pay the athletes what it would cost for room and board. You pay them what it would cost to go to school. You give them the money. You make them responsible for themselves. And you develop these farm systems. And they're like, oh, KP, well, that's not going to end nothing. They're still going to corrupt. Schools can still figure out how to pay these guys. One school, Alabama, could go out and get everybody. You could, it's not unfair. That's not going to fix nothing. When less people have a financial interest in something, all of a sudden it gets fixed, that problem. Because the problems you're seeing, this corruption, this paying athletes, it's all because we have turned college athletics, we've turned amateur sports into a business. And people are like, oh, we want to take this and let it be a business. Let these kids sign with an agent at whatever age. Let the colleges bid for them. Let it be what it is and just kill the amateur status altogether. No. I'm fully against that. I believe in sports. I believe in the purity of sports. I believe in all the goodness and the greatness that comes from team athletics and individual athletics as a whole. All of the experiences and the personal growth you can get from being a part of this. But it's not going to start anywhere unless the athletes who are there now risk their stake, their lives, their money, their scholarships to make it better for the next group. They're going to have to do things like boycott the NCAA tournament. It's March. You want to make a stand? 64 teams, don't show up. Let them have their brackets show. Let millions of people fill out their brackets. And then don't play in their games. Take a stand. You're the ones who can make a change. You're the ones who can force some of this greed and some of this abuse and some of this misappropriation of funds out of sports. I don't like it. I can't stand it. I understand it's there. I understand it's probably never going to go away. I understand that really the best thing to do is probably just go ahead and treat it like a business at this point, because it has become just that. And that saddens me. I can't stand that. I can't stand how it trickles down to the high school level. I can't stand how I hear little league guys talking about how they're going to make millions of dollars. Because I love sports. I would have played pro for free and gone and worked my job in the off season and, had a nighttime gig or whatever I had to do. I just liked playing football. So I hate the business side. I can't stand it. So that's what I would do to fix the NCAA, to save amateur athletics. Make them club teams. I'm going back. I'm going to stick with that. Make them club teams. There's no financial interest in a club team. Make true farm leagues for all of the pro sports. And let them go at 18 and join that farm league if they can make the team. Get rid of the rule that if you go and try that out for 6 months and aren't successful, you can't come back and be part of the club team at the university because of the amateur status. Because that's a bunch of BS. Excuse me. You got skiers from the Olympics on the Austria team here in Denver at Denver University competing for the team here as an amateur. They make all kinds of money as Olympic athletes from endorsements and companies' sponsors. So stop being greedy, take the business out of it, and let sports be sports. Please. NBA. We have not talked enough about the NBA this season. We focused so much on the NFL throughout the NFL regular season and didn't really hit on the other sports, as we were just on the air once a week this year. Probably going to go back to the multi-show format. I have to say a big thanks to D-Mac over at 104.3 The Fan. I chatted with him a little bit, and he made me realize that right now I'm kind of stuck in hobby mode. This is something I love. This is something I do want to do and I want to pursue. And just getting with you guys only once a week wasn't enough. So I need to get back to multiple shows a week. I need to get back to doing something every day to help grow this and do this. So thank you, D-Mac, for those words of advice. NBA, where are we sitting at? Eastern Conference, you got Toronto sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference, a game ahead of Boston. Cleveland's been a little up and down recently. They're 8 games back of that first place, sitting in the third slot. On the Western Conference side, you got Houston and Golden State currently tied at the top of the Western Conference, with the Trailblazers 12.5 games. Well, 4 teams after that, 12.5 games back from the 3rd to the 6th seed. And then 7th and 8th seed are only 13 and 14.5 games back. So the Western Conference super tight right now. We're just about 20 games left in the season, so who knows how the standings in the Western Conference are going to turn out. Right now, Denver in the 8th seed, and really even Utah down basically in the 10th seed, could end up anywhere between 3 and 10. Portland, San Antonio, Oklahoma, Minnesota, New Orleans, Denver, LA, and Utah. Those 7-8 teams could end up anywhere between the 3 and 10 seeds, or positions by the end of these last 20 games, with as close as they are. Western Conference super tight. Eastern Conference, you're tight at the back end. I mean, Miami, Milwaukee, Philly, Indy, Washington, and Cleveland. You could see some movement there. 8, 9, 9.5, 10, 11.5, 12.5 games back. Just not as tight as the Western Conference, which has been the norm for, a decade now, right? So, close race. We're about 20 games out. You've had some great play this season out of guys like James Harden and Anthony Davis, Giannis Akinapo, LeBron James, of course, the boys in Golden State. Drummond has been doing a pretty great job there in Detroit all year. Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City really turned it on at about the halfway point of the season. Houston as a team has been special all year. So many stories throughout the season. The season DeMarcus Cousins was having before he went down. Porzingis was having a nice season before he went down. I mean, just all kinds of things going on. Dirk Nowitzki hit 31,000 points, making him the 6th player in history to do that. LeBron James, first player in history to have 30,000 8,000 and 8,000, and nobody else even has, I think, 27, 7, and 7 or something like that. So all kinds of great things happen in this NFL or NBA season, excuse me. You got the MVP race right now. People foremost talked about names: LeBron, Harden, Anthony Davis, and Giannis. Right now, I really think it's a two-horse race between LeBron and Harden. I think Harden has to win it at this point, just because of the season he had last year, put together with the season he's having this year. The scoring leader, right there, not number one in assists, but he's like 2 or 3 in assists in the league right now. LeBron's having a special year with a bad Cleveland team. But I would think right now I would vote for James Harden as my MVP guy. Stephon Marbury's retiring. He played so many years over there in China, Minnesota Timberwolves, the Knicks, the New Jersey Nets. Is he a Hall of Famer? I would have to say yes, because his impact on the game of basketball worldwide has been bigger than we know in this country. It's not reported, all of the greatness and the things that he's done in China. He's really only second in China to Yao Ming. And if there was no Yao Ming, he would easily be the most important figure in Chinese basketball. He has statues connected to him. He's won championships over there. We know about his And One line, giving affordable basketball shoes to kids all over the world. Often misunderstood, often conflicted, often abrasive. But as far as his impact on the game of basketball, his longevity in the game of basketball, and because it is not the NBA Hall of Fame, because it is the Professional Basketball Hall of Fame, I say Stephon Marbury definitely deserves to be in. Other stupid stories coming out of NBA this week. J.R. Smith, he gets suspended for throwing a bowl of soup at Damon Jones. Can't say that I blame him. Damon Jones seems kind of irritating to me. Now, I don't advocate that, kids. You shouldn't be throwing stuff at nobody. You shouldn't be throwing soup at your coaches. You deserve to be suspended for it. But something tells me that as long as these guys have known each other, there's something there bigger than just JR decided to throw some soup at the coach. Major League Baseball is getting ready to get started. The NHL, they're nearing their playoffs also. It's March 3rd. Enjoy your weekend. Until next time, just be real.
Hey, look, let's get it on. Time to hit that mindless flow. Mommy said she trying to roll. I told that bitch to find the dough. I ain't got no time for these bitches. I'm on my grind for dough. Rock a couple shows for mo. Weed, liquor, designer clothes. Not to mention my fits accentuated with shining glow. I could sense the hate from the gate when I stepped inside the door. Straight to the bar we go. Line a few shots up in a row. Knock 'em back and slam the glass as hard as dominoes. We ain't even dancing, just standing on couches lighting dro. Fuck security and the club owner already know. Bitches mesmerized by the hazy eyes and the wavy flow. Niggas hating harder than Satan, waiting to pull they chrome, but I ain't near shaking. I stand as broad like a solid stone, antagonizing niggas by waving a double shot of Tron. This that ignorant shit you like to hear on a song. It ain't gotta be real when the fakest shit is getting on. Yeah, let's get it on. Pockets swollen, riding chrome. Bottles popping and models jocking partner, let's get it on. Drug trafficking, guns clapping, rapping, let's get it on. It ain't gotta be real when the fakest shit is getting on. Yeah, let's get it on. Hustle till the early morn. Strip clubbing, we been thugging, cousin, let's get it on. Long as the beat's hard, we can say whatever the fuck we want. It ain't